Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. In the vast history of American coinage, few denominations have managed to capture the public's imagination quite like the Washington quarter. From the moment it first entered circulation in 1932, this coin was more than just pocket change. It was a symbol of American resilience, leadership, and identity. Designed to honor the father of the nation, George Washington, the quarter became a staple in the hands and hearts of millions. But not every quarter tells the same story. Among the many millions produced over the decades, a few extraordinary pieces have risen to legendary status. And one such coin is the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1974. The year 1974 was one of political change and economic uncertainty. America was still healing from the turmoil of the Vietnam War. The Watergate scandal was unfolding, and the economy faced rising inflation. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint continued its work, striking quarters in both Philadelphia and Denver. Tens of millions were produced that year, and yet, from this flood of currency, a few select coins emerged that would someday become the focus of intense collector interest. The 1974 Washington quarter, while common in circulation, holds secrets that are only visible to those who look close enough, and those secrets can lead to immense value. At first glance, the 1974 quarter might seem identical to those of surrounding years. On the obverse, John Flanagan portrait of George Washington stares stoically into the distance, framed by the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," with the date at the bottom. On the reverse, the powerful bald eagle clutches arrows in its talons, a symbol of strength and preparedness, perched above an olive branch that reminds us of the ever-present desire for peace. But hidden among these ordinary coins are a few that defy expectation, coins that were struck under rare conditions, with unusual precision, or with small but significant errors. Some 1974 quarters are known to have double dies, where the lettering and numbers appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the striking process. These are difficult to spot unless you're trained to see the minute differences: a slightly thicker Liberty, a shadow behind "In God We Trust," or an oddly shaped date. Then there are the quarters with off-center strikes, planchet errors, or coins that were struck on the wrong metal blanks. These types of errors are not just interesting quirks, they are anomalies that drive collectors into a frenzy. Each one is unique, and that uniqueness is what transforms a common quarter into a rare treasure. Preservation also plays a key role. Most quarters from 1974 entered circulation quickly, bouncing from hand to hand, tossed into vending machines and parking meters, scratched and worn by decades of use. But a rare few were set aside, stored in pristine condition, untouched by the passage of time. These coins, graded by professional services as MS-67 or higher, represent the absolute finest examples of their kind. Their luster remains bright, their details sharp, and their surfaces unblemished. For collectors, finding such a coin is like striking gold. Imagine the excitement of opening an old coin roll, only to discover a gleaming 1974 quarter with a doubling error, struck in perfect condition. It's not just a coin anymore. It's a portal to the past, a piece of history that has survived against all odds. This is what fuels the passion of numismatists, the chance to own something rare, beautiful, and historically significant. In recent years, the market for these rare quarters has surged. Collectors from around the world are willing to pay extraordinary sums to acquire the finest known examples. Coin auctions have seen fierce bidding wars break out over specific quarters, with prices climbing higher and higher as enthusiasts recognize just how scarce these coins truly are. And so, among all the quarters ever minted, the 1974 Washington quarter has earned its place in the spotlight. One extraordinary specimen, untouched by circulation, perfectly preserved, and bearing unique characteristics, has astonished even seasoned collectors by reaching a staggering auction price. That final hammer dropped on a figure few would believe possible for a coin most people have handled without a second thought. The price paid for this exceptional 1974 Washington quarter was $155,000. Top 2. In the fascinating world of American coinage, there exists a coin that, at first glance, seems entirely ordinary, a small silver-toned disc that has passed unnoticed through the hands of countless Americans. It jingled in pockets, disappeared into cash registers, and clinked down soda machines. But for the careful eye of a collector, one such quarter holds a secret that could turn spare change into a life-changing discovery. We're talking about the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1982, a coin whose backstory is as surprising as its current value. To appreciate the significance of the 1982 Washington quarter, we must step back in time and explore the economic and political climate of the early 1980s. Inflation and recession had gripped the United States, pushing government agencies to tighten budgets and make tough decisions. Among those decisions was a choice by the U.S. Mint to stop producing uncirculated mint sets, a move that would have lasting effects on coin collectors. Unlike most years, in 1982 and again in 1983, there were no official U.S. mint sets available to the public. This meant that coins from these years, particularly those in mint state, were far scarcer than usual. What makes the 1982 quarter especially intriguing is how it slipped through the cracks of normal collecting. With no uncirculated sets to draw from, collectors had to rely on finding pristine examples of these coins straight from circulation, a near impossible task. Most coins that made it into people's hands were already showing signs of wear, with their luster dulled and edges worn down by use. This scarcity of high-grade examples turned the 1982 Washington quarter into a numismatic sleeper hit, hiding in plain sight. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the 1982 quarter features the iconic image of George Washington, a design that has remained remarkably consistent since its introduction in 1932. Washington's stern yet noble gaze is accompanied by the word "Liberty" at the top, and the national motto "In God We Trust" to the left. The date, 1982, rests firmly at the bottom. Flip the coin, and you're met with a proud eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with an olive branch beneath, a powerful blend of strength and peace, symbolic of the nation's values. The 1982 quarters were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Interestingly, this was the first year that the Philadelphia Mint placed its P mint mark on quarters, marking a subtle yet important historical milestone. But what really sets the 1982 quarters apart, and sends collectors into a frenzy, are the incredibly rare versions that exist in exceptional condition, as well as those with unique errors. Some 1982 quarters were struck on improperly prepared planchets, resulting in striking anomalies that create visual oddities like weak details, missing reading on the edge, or blurry inscriptions. A few have even been discovered with doubling in the letters or numbers, a result of a doubled die, a highly sought-after minting error in the numismatic community. Others are valued for their sheer perfection, coins that somehow avoided wear, damage, and handling, making them glitter like newly minted treasures even after decades. The market demand for 1982 Washington quarters in top condition has skyrocketed in recent years. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have seen only a handful of submissions reach the top grading tiers, such as MS-67 or MS-68. And when they do, they become the stuff of legend. These top-tier coins are seen as museum-worthy, coveted by elite collectors who are willing to pay staggering amounts to add them to their collections. But the value of a coin like this isn't just about rarity or condition, it's about the story. It's about a coin that was never expected to be special, quietly minted during a time of budget cuts and economic struggle, only to emerge decades later as a numismatic star. It's about the thrill of discovery, the joy of history in your hand, and the promise that even the most common of objects can hold extraordinary value. Now picture this: a humble 1982 Washington quarter plucked from a roll, preserved against the odds, and recognized by experts for its exceptional strike and flawless condition. The bidding begins at a coin auction. Eyes are glued to the screen. Paddles are raised. The numbers climb. And when the final gavel falls, this unassuming little piece of metal commands a sum that leaves the audience in awe. That price for a single 1982 Washington quarter in pristine condition was $125,000. Top 3. Every now and then, a simple coin slips through our fingers that later proves to be worth more than we ever imagined. It may have clinked around in your pocket, been tossed into a coin jar, or forgotten in an old dresser drawer. And yet, unknown to most, some of these unassuming coins carry astonishing value. One such coin is the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1979, a piece that might look like ordinary pocket change, but for the lucky few who possess a rare variant in immaculate condition, its worth defies belief. The story of the 1979 Washington quarter begins with the enduring legacy of its design. The obverse side of the coin bears the proud and dignified profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, sculpted by artist John Flanagan. This classic design has remained virtually unchanged since its debut in 1932, created to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. Above his head reads the powerful word liberty, while to the left, in smaller print, we find the nation's founding motto, "In God We Trust." Below, the date, 1979, marks the year of its creation, a time of transition in American coinage, and a year that brought forth some unexpected numismatic treasures. On the reverse side of the quarter, the bold American eagle stands tall, with its wings fully spread, resting on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of strength, with an olive branch tucked beneath, representing peace. These two images, combined, echo America's position as both a powerful nation and one that values diplomacy. Above the eagle's head, the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, out of many, one, reminds us of the unity among the states. This striking imagery reflects the values embedded in American history and is one of the reasons the quarter remains a beloved coin among collectors. But what makes the 1979 quarter truly exceptional isn't just the design. It's the rare circumstances and hidden details that have transformed some examples into high-value collector's items. The 1979 Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were struck for circulation, meant to be spent, traded, and carried throughout the country. However, as with many coins, not all were created equal. Some of the most sought-after 1979 quarters are those that feature unique errors or anomalies, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusually strong details due to perfect planchet alignment and striking pressure. These errors may seem minor to the untrained eye, but to a numismatist, someone who studies or collects currency, they can elevate a coin's value astronomically. Even more desirable are coins that have survived the decades without ever being circulated. These rare quarters were either preserved by accident or saved intentionally by careful hands. Graded by professional services, these specimens, especially those that reach the mint state 67 or higher, are in pristine condition with original luster and sharply defined features. The absence of wear, along with exceptional eye appeal, plays a critical role in determining a coin's value. And when it comes to the 1979 Washington quarter, finding one that combines rarity, perfection, and historic charm is like striking gold. Collectors are known to search tirelessly through rolls of quarters, coin shows, and online auctions hoping to stumble upon that one shining example. It's not just about acquiring metal. It's about owning a preserved piece of American heritage, a testament to craftsmanship, chance, and the enduring allure of discovery. Over time, as more collectors seek out the finest versions of vintage coins, the competition becomes fierce. The prices surge. What once might have been dismissed as a 25-cent coin becomes a treasured artifact of national significance. Auction houses have witnessed thrilling moments when one of these rare coins appears, drawing attention from elite collectors and historians alike. The silence in the room as bids rise is electric, and the final sale becomes a historic event in its own right. The thrill of this story isn't just about rarity, it's about possibility. Because while these rare coins are hard to come by, they're not locked away in museums. They're still out there. They could be resting in your home, tucked into an old envelope, sealed in a coin collection, or hiding in plain sight within your change. The idea that something so small could carry such immense value is what fuels the passion of collectors around the world. So, what if you were holding such a coin right now? Imagine discovering a 1979 Washington quarter in flawless condition, free from blemishes, with sharp detail and a radiant shine, a true gem among millions. That one coin, seemingly common and quietly resting for over 4 decades, could fetch an astonishing sum at auction. And for one such rare and nearly perfect 1979 Washington quarter, the final bid reached an unbelievable amount, $145,000. Top 4. In the vast world of coin collecting, some treasures are hiding in plain sight. They pass from hand to hand, fall into vending machines, and sit quietly in change jars, never revealing their true worth to the casual observer. But within this sea of ordinary coins, there are a select few that break all expectations. Coins that, under just the right conditions, transform from everyday change into extraordinary artifacts. One such coin is the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1996, a seemingly modern piece with a legacy deeper than many realize, and a value that might leave you stunned. The Washington quarter, since its inception in 1932, has held a special place in American coinage. Designed to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States, the coin quickly became a standard of circulation and a beloved icon in pockets across the nation. The obverse design by John Flanagan features Washington's commanding profile, facing left, a symbol of leadership, independence, and the founding vision of America. That design remained nearly unchanged for decades, even through times of economic shift, cultural upheaval, and technological evolution. By 1996, the Washington quarter had already seen more than 6 decades of consistent mintage. However, that year was unique in ways that only experienced collectors and careful observers might recognize. While millions of quarters were minted in 1996 by the Philadelphia and Denver mints, not all of them were created equal. Some left the mint with subtle differences, imperfections, unusual features, or unexpectedly flawless finishes that would later elevate them far above their 25-cent face value. The year 1996 sat on the edge of a coinage transformation in the U.S., just a few years before the launch of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. This made the 1996 quarter one of the last to bear the classic eagle reverse, a design that had become a symbol of American strength and heritage. The eagle, wings outstretched and perched upon a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, is framed by the phrase, United States of America, and the motto, E pluribus unum. It is not merely artwork. It is an emblem of unity, power, and peace, standing as a bridge between historical tradition and modern minting techniques that in the world of numismatics. Rarity is not always defined by low mintage alone. Sometimes it's about condition. The rarest and most valuable 1996 Washington quarters are those that have survived in nearly perfect condition. These coins are classified as mint state, often with grades of MS 67 or higher, which means they exhibit pristine detail, brilliant luster, and no visible signs of wear. Finding such a coin is exceedingly rare, as quarters in circulation are subjected to years of handling, abrasion, and general wear and tear. What makes a 1996 quarter truly exceptional might also be a minting error. These are the quirks and anomalies that occurred during the coin production process. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. Imperfections that turn ordinary coins into highly desirable oddities. Collectors love these mistakes, not because they mar the design, but because they tell a unique story of how a rare gem slipped past quality control and entered the wild. There's also the emotional value of coins like the 1996 Washington quarter. For many, this was a coin they grew up with, tucked under couch cushions, received as allowance, or exchanged at corner stores. It's a nostalgic artifact of the mid-90s, a time when America stood between the analog past and the digital future. In that way, this coin carries with it a sense of time, a memory frozen in copper and nickel, a connection to the everyday lives of millions. Now imagine discovering one of these coins, not just in decent shape, but in extraordinary condition. Perhaps it was unknowingly saved in a coin collection, sealed away for decades. Or maybe it survived untouched in a proof set, never once touched by human hands. The shine would be unmistakable. The strike, sharp, clear, and bold. Every detail of Washington's portrait, every feather on the eagle, every letter in the inscriptions would appear as if the coin had just rolled off the minting press. That's when the coin transcends from common currency to collector's dream. Auction houses and elite collectors pay top dollar for coins that meet these strict standards, and the competition to acquire them is fierce. These are not simply purchases, they're investments in history, beauty, and rarity. And while the average person might dismiss a 1996 quarter as modern and insignificant, those who know the secrets of numismatics understand that modern does not mean worthless. Quite the opposite, because sometimes modern coins that survive in exceptional form are far rarer than their older counterparts. So, if you ever come across a 1996 Washington quarter that seems brighter, crisper, and more perfect than the rest, don't let it go. Don't drop it in a parking meter or let it vanish into a pile of change. Take a closer look. Because that single coin, under the right conditions and with the right traits, has fetched an astonishing price. A figure that seems unimaginable for a quarter, yet real enough to shake the coin world. Point 1 Exceptional 1996 Washington quarter, preserved in near-perfect mint state condition with rare features and stunning appeal, was sold to a collector for an unbelievable sum. And that price was $85,000. Top 5. In the vast and fascinating world of coin collecting, some treasures go unnoticed for decades, resting quietly in pockets, coin jars, or forgotten drawers, until one day, a keen eye reveals their true hidden value. Among the thousands of coins that pass through our hands, only a handful hold the kind of historical and monetary worth that makes collectors stop in their tracks. Today, we uncover the mystery, rarity, and brilliance of one such coin, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin from the past, but its story, legacy, and remarkable worth make it a crown jewel in the eyes of numismatists. The Washington quarter has been an enduring symbol of American strength and heritage since its debut in 1932. Initially introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the design became a permanent fixture in American coinage. Sculptor John Flanagan design, featuring a bold and stately profile of the first president of the United States on the obverse, set a precedent for beauty, dignity, and consistency that lasted for decades. His profile stares to the left, embodying the ideals of leadership and patriotism, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," with the date resting firmly at the bottom, 1973, in our case, marking a specific moment in U.S. history. The year 1973 was a time of both progress and tension in America. The Vietnam War was winding down. The Watergate scandal was beginning to shake the very foundation of American politics, and the energy crisis loomed on the horizon. Amid these national concerns, the U.S. Mint continued to produce millions of coins to keep up with the growing economy. The Washington quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and while the mintage numbers may suggest abundance, rarity in the world of coins isn't always about quantity. It's about condition, anomalies, and survival. What sets the 1973 Washington quarter apart isn't a low mintage, but rather the existence of a few incredibly well-preserved specimens and the occasional extraordinary mint error. Some quarters from this year emerged with double die obverse, where parts of the design appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Others may display off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusually strong and full strikes that make the coin stand out in any collector's case. These minting variations, when combined with a high grade, skyrocket the value of the coin far beyond its original 25-cent purpose. Condition, as always, plays a vital role. Coins graded MS 67 and higher, those classified as mint state, showing no signs of wear and retaining their original luster, are exceedingly rare, especially for a coin from the early 1970s. Quarters were, and still are, used heavily in daily commerce. Very few from 1973 were put aside in pristine condition. So when a coin is discovered that still gleams with full mint brilliance, sharp edges, and no blemishes or bag marks, it becomes a stunning relic of American minting history, almost as though it traveled through time untouched. But the value of this quarter doesn't stop at condition or error. It is deeply tied to sentiment, nostalgia, and the art of collecting itself. For millions of Americans, coins like the 1973 quarter are reminders of childhood, a slower-paced life, or a nation undergoing change. It may have been part of a school lunch purchase, change from a gas station, or a tip left on a diner counter. Every mark and tone on the surface of a circulated coin tells a story. But the uncirculated ones, the untouched, preserved, nearly perfect examples, are like messages sealed in time, untouched by the wear and chaos of history that in recent years, coin collectors have paid closer attention to modern-era coins that were previously overlooked. While the classic coins from the 1800s and early 1900s still fetch high prices, rare finds from the 1970s, like the 1973 Washington quarter, have begun to rise dramatically in collector interest. This is because truly high-grade examples are much rarer than once believed, and the market is beginning to reflect their true scarcity. Imagine a collector, after decades of searching, finally laying hands on a 1973 Washington quarter that glistens like a mirror, showing not only the artistry of the mint, but also the history of an era. The crisp details of George Washington's hair, the sharpness of the eagle's feathers on the reverse, the perfect symmetry of the inscriptions, all preserved as though time itself stood still. It's not just a coin. It's a masterpiece. That's what makes this particular coin so thrilling to collectors around the world. A rare survivor of an era of great change. A symbol of American heritage. A coin that looks common but is anything but. And it is this deceptive simplicity that gives the 1973 Washington quarter its intrigue and allure. After all, how often does something you've held in your hand, something you might have once used in a parking meter or vending machine, turn out to be a treasure beyond imagination? In one extraordinary case, a 1973 Washington quarter, preserved in flawless condition and admired for its rarity and perfection, achieved something truly astonishing. Its final value was $165,000.